Hey, Forrest here. Nothing like getting paid. And with ICCU's mobile app, I can deposit checks or accept Zelle payments so the money hits my account fast. I just wish there was an app for mowing the rest of these lawns.
Right now, Lithia Ford of Boise is buying used vehicles. How much you want for the SUV?
I don't know.
Well, Lithia Ford will give you more than that.
How much more?
More than you think.
I'm not thinking anything.
I'm thinking you might get even more than that. See how much more you can get at Lithia Ford of Boise.
When it comes to concrete, we've got you covered. RowPaint.com offers custom concrete coating services for your garage, business, warehouse, and more. And we do it in one day. We are your complete concrete coatings solution.
Welcome to the Lithia Ford of Boise pregame show from Bronco Nation News, as we get you set for the latest news, insight, and analysis as game time approaches. The BNN pregame show is presented by Lithia Ford of Boise. Check out LithiaFordBoise.com to view the full inventory of vehicles, or check them out at 8853 West Fairview in Boise. Today's broadcast is coming from the Cutwater Spirits Canned Cocktail Studios. Check out one of their more than 30 flavors of pre-mixed premium cocktails at your local gas station or grocery store. Now, let's head out and join BJ Rains for the Lithia Ford of Boise pregame show from Bronco Nation News.
And greetings, Boise State fans. Yes, it's been more than 3 weeks, but we are back in ExtraMile Arena. The Boise State men's basketball team getting set to take on North Texas, coming off the big win against St. Mary's. Max Rice and the Broncos getting set for another big game here. 7 straight top 100 KenPom teams. The gauntlet coming to a close tonight against North Texas. And happy to kick off the Lithia Ford of Boise pregame show here with our man Abe Jackson as we get you set for Boise State and North Texas tonight. Abe, almost didn't remember how to get back in this place. It's been a while.
Been a while since the Broncos have been in this building, but now they got a little stretch. Give it some home games.
4 home games in a row now, and this is obviously the toughest of them all. But the St. Mary's game, first of all, solo commentary from Abe Jackson. Abe Jackson broadcasted the game on the radio by himself.
First time.
How was that?
It's different. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot more talking than what I'm used to, and a lot more reads that you got to get within the game. Everything's sponsored. Everything has a read. Brought to you by this, brought to you by that.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun. It was a learning curve. I felt like the second half was a little smoother than the first. So if anyone was listening, hopefully you stay tuned to the second half after that first one. But it was a great game by the Broncos. I mean, they beat St. Mary's wire to wire, and I really loved how they played, because we talk about a lot before the season started about how the bench is going to be so big for this team.
Yep.
And you couldn't have drawn up a better game that epitomizes what we are talking about in the bench than against St. Mary's. Some of the starters struggled. You have R.J. Keene coming in playing his most minutes. Roddy Anderson maybe playing his most minutes. And it really might not have been offensively. They each had some buckets, but everyone played so well defensively. Foul trouble for your big guys. Some other guys stepped up in those positions as well. So great team win. The bench showed up huge against St. Mary's, and they got a win that I think is going to look a lot better as the year rolls on.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And they badly needed it coming off that stretch there in the East Coast with the 4 games. But it's another game, top 75 KenPom net team in North Texas. I know they don't have the name, and they did lose their coach and their best player from last year's team that won the NIT. But still a quality team. And again, another one of those games here that probably, hopefully, by the end of the year will help from a computer standpoint.
I think so. I think when you look at St. Mary's and you look at North Texas, if they can both get through their non-conference pretty strong, they're going to rack up a lot of wins when it comes to conference play, because both these teams aren't in the strongest overall of conferences. So if you get through your non-conference pretty safe, you're going to start to get up to those 20 wins pretty quick.
What you mentioned the St. Mary's game, though, but what other than the shot clock issues, I would have loved to have heard you filling during those. But what were the positives Boise State can take away from that game?
Well, the first, we already mentioned it, is the bench. I mean, you had foul trouble from Omar Stanley, foul trouble from Cam Martin. Max Rice couldn't find his shot. So you had to have production from other places. And you had R.J. Keene play some big minutes. Roddy Anderson played big minutes. Andrew Meadow, I mean, this guy, if you want to get a roll going, just plug him in the game for about 30 seconds, and he'll knock down some shots. and then you'll be ready to go. He did it against VCU. St. Mary's cut the lead to, I believe, 3, and then Andrew Mato came in off the bench, knocked down back-to-back three-pointers, and the Broncos were rolling from there. So great bench play, and then Tyson Degenhart with his just classic 15 rebounds, 6-7 boards, 5 of 7 from the floor, just leading the team, just a grinder inside and mid-range.
Max Rice, you mentioned him. It's been a little bit of a slow start to the season for him. I know Leon will say that he's helping him win in other ways and things, but 3 games in a row with no made threes now for Max Rice. So where do you think Max is, and how do they get him back on track here tonight?
Well, I think it's a couple things, and one, it's the schedule that you play. I mean, when you play the schedule that the Broncos have, 2 ACC teams, VCU, Butler, St. Mary's, they're going to have athletes. They're going to have big, strong athletes that can fight through screens and challenge you up top for your shots. And Max Rice, isn't a guy that creates his own shot where it's the shot clock winding down, you give him the ball, and he just creates and gets by his guy. He's got to get off screens. He's got to have good passes. And when you play against really athletic, strong players like the Broncos have, it's tougher to get that separation to get your shot off. So I think that's one. And then 2, I do think he's in a little bit of a slump right now. But that happens when you're a shooter. We've seen Max do that before. He started a couple seasons ago, 1 for 24, something like that. Ends up one of the best shooters in the conference. So you combine those 2 things together, and I think that's why he's off to a slow start. But if we've seen Max for so many years now, there's nothing from what we've seen in the past that says that this is going to continue for him. So I think that he'll get off his slow start. Will it be tonight? I don't know. Maybe some of these other home games.
Yeah.
But when you're a shooter, you see 1 or 2 go down, and then that hoop gets real big.
You mentioned Andrew Meadow hitting a couple big threes in that game. And, by the way, with Max, I mean, I know Leon says it a lot, but the numbers will correct themselves. He's got he's got numbers on the back of the baseball card, as they say, that prove that he's going to start shooting the shot.
Right.
But North Texas, I know we'll get to them in a second, but they are a good defensive team. That's going to make things a little tougher tonight. But just in terms of this early schedule we've talked about, Abe, just kind of battle testing this team for conference play, certainly, but even for a game like tonight, a quality team coming in here when you've already played Clemson, Virginia Tech, Butler, St. Mary's. You go down the line, VCU, San Francisco. I mean, you've already played 6 quality teams here, and this is number 7. So I think that these previous games, even some of the ones they lost, as much as it's painful to say or painful for fans to try to find positives with a loss, I do think that this team's battle tested for this game and for the future here.
It's exactly why you play those games. I mean, everyone would have loved to have gone 4-0 on that road trip, right? But if you're being honest with yourself, that probably wasn't going to happen, and it didn't. But you play those games, you put yourself in those situations against those high quality of players to have it pay off down the road. And I'll be honest, I don't know if they hold on to their lead against St. Mary's when they were up double digits and then the Gales cut it to 3, if they didn't go through those games with Clemson, Virginia Tech, Butler, VCU before they got to St. Mary's. So you play those games, it didn't get in the win column, but you're going to be able to put it on the board and say, okay, look at the post from North Texas. Okay, solid player. Look at the post from Clemson that you guys played pretty well against in a half, and PJ Hall, who could be an all-conference first or second team player in the ACC. So in the mindset for this team going into other games from going on that road trip and playing those high-quality teams helps out.
The confines of ExtraMile Arena, I joked about it, haven't been back here in a while. Was it 16 or 17? I don't remember if this will be 17 or if they're at 17 home wins in a row.
I think this is 17 if they win.
Tied for the number 6 longest streak, or 5th or 6th longest streak in the nation right now. It's Brandon Walton wrote the story for us yesterday while I was still in Las Vegas. Longest stretch between home games in almost 25 years here at Boise State in the middle of a season, like 23 days or whatever it was. Very odd the way the schedule worked out, but this place certainly gives them a home court advantage. As I said, a top 5, top 6 home winning streak in the nation, and hopefully they can get a big crowd tonight.
Yeah, and when you're a player, I've said it before, you always want energy in the building, whether the crowd's cheering against you or cheering for you, but it feels a little better when they're cheering for you. It's got to feel good to be back here, and it's not just you're back in the arena, but you're back in your own bed. You're back in your own shooting gym. You are going to classes. You're back in what feels familiar to you, and you're not living out of hotels and living out of buses. So not just playing in the arena helps, but just being back at home in general can help.
Tell us about North Texas, one of the elite defensive teams in the country.
Well, they lost a lot of players, like you said, from last year's NIT team and their head coach, but they do have really good defenders. I was talking to their radio broadcast host. I'm spacing his name right now. I apologize. But he said that they have some 6'4" to 6'6" guys that are just pretty much locked down defenders. And we were talking about Max and trying to get his shot off. And he said he'd be surprised if Max got some open looks tonight because of how good this team defends. So they might not put up a ton of points in North Texas, but they might keep the Broncos from reaching that 70 or 75 mark, too.
So what are the keys for Boise State to get a victory tonight?
Well, you have to put pressure on the defense. I think you have to put the ball on the floor. Elite defensive teams, they're really good at keeping you from moving the ball where you want it. But if you are aggressive like you were against St. Mary's, back cuts, an aggressive team like North Texas can be denying those guard-to-guard passes, leaves you open for back cuts. Be aggressive. Once you have a team that is getting you on your heels, kind of like the first half against BCU before Andrew Meadow came in, they were attacking Boise State. You could tell the Broncos were on their heels. You have to attack even more when you're playing a good defense.
And final thing, I'm seeing I was watching Roddy Anderson right here, the point guard play. What have you thought of that recently?
I thought it's improved. I really do. And you look at Roddy Anderson's numbers, and they don't really jump out at you. I think he had 7 or 8 points against St. Mary's. But when you watch him play defense on Aiden Mahaney, who was a first-team All-WCC player last year as a freshman, and it'd probably be a first- and second-team All-WCC player this year, he was all over him in the second half. Aiden Mahaney had some points, but I think it took him 16 or 17 shots to get to 19 points. So when you do that as a defender, you are doing your job. And we talked to Roddy Anderson in the postgame, or I talked to Roddy Anderson in the postgame and just asked him, how's it going? And he said, it's going to be a process. And I told him that I liked how he's playing defense. And he said, that's one of the things I've really been working on is getting my defense in check.
Well, again, we already see fans filing into the third deck here. Should be a nice crowd. And in 11 minutes, you can hear Abe Jackson along with Bob Beeler, 670 KBUI on the pregame show. Their broadcast will be just after 7 o'clock on 670 KBUI. So, Abe, appreciate it as always, man, and have a good call.
All right. Thanks.
There he is, Abe Jackson. We appreciate him for joining us. This is the Lithia Ford of Boise pregame show. Of course, we're coming from the Cutwater Spirits mobile studios. More than 30 flavors of pre-mixed premium cocktails. You can pick one up at your local gas station or grocery store. And again, we appreciate our sponsors at Cutwater Spirits. We're actually going to be broadcasting live from the Cutwater studios tomorrow. We're going to be at Cutwater, Stein Distributing, for a live broadcast tomorrow. So looking forward to that. You see Boise State out on the court warming up. Get your score predictions in. Get your comments, your thoughts. I know there's a lot of football news going on. Ashton Genty is returning. We can certainly talk Ashton Genty. We can certainly talk about whatever you want to talk about. Spencer Danielson, he's going to be in the house tonight, speaking to the team or the crowd at halftime, I believe. So should be a big crowd tonight to welcome Spencer Danielson in as the official full-time coach. We got more analysis. We got interviews. We got all kinds of stuff to get to. Don't go anywhere. We're going to take a quick 90-second break. We'll be back. Get those comments in. We'll read them right after the break here on Bronco Nation News. All Bronco Nation News broadcasts come from the Cutwater Spirits Canned Cocktail Studios. Check out one of their more than 30 flavors of pre-mixed premium cocktails at your local gas station or grocery store. Cutwater Spirits, perfect for your next game day tailgate party. Our title sponsor is rowpaint.com. For all your commercial, industrial, residential painting needs, check out rowpaint.com. Don't forget about their concrete coatings. Transform that ugly concrete slab on your back patio in your garage in just one day. Contact rowpaint.com for a free estimate today. The official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics, and our title sponsor at Bronco Nation News is rowpaint.com. Idaho Central Credit Union's been helping members achieve financial success for more than 80 years. There's an ICCU branch on almost every corner, but the closest is in your pocket with free eBranch mobile and online banking. See why more than 500,000 members love ICCU and join 1 in 4 Idahoans by making the switch today at ICCU.com. Since 1984, Ridley's Family Markets has prided itself on being a hometown food and drug store that employed value members of the local community. Ridley's Family Markets has 13 locations in the state of Idaho and many more in the surrounding states. Download the new Ridley's app to your smartphone. Get savings up to 40% off at the checkout line and find a location near you at shopridleys.com. Former Bronco Matt Bauscher is once again the number 1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley. No home is too big or too small for Matt and his team. Let them fulfill all your real estate needs at BauscherRealEstate.com. Back here live on the Lithia Ford of Boise pregame show. Again, we're at ExtraMile Arena getting set for Boise State basketball against North Texas. And should be a good one tonight. North Texas coming in with a 5-2 record. Boise State at 4-3, but you look at this game tonight, and then you look at what's coming up here for Boise State in the future. I mean, Boise State has a chance here. If they can get a win tonight, go on a little bit of a run here. They got 3 winnable games up next. That could get you to 8-3, and then you got Washington State and Utah Utah Valley to wrap up non-conference play. I mean, Boise State has a chance if they could win that Washington State game and win tonight. You got a chance at the 10-3 non-conference schedule, which, given the quality opponents they've played, that'd be pretty darn good. You could get to 10-3, be on a 7-game winning streak going into conference play. I mean, that would be really nice. But tonight is certainly not going to be easy for Boise State. You see the Broncos on the court warming up behind me. Again, we'll take your score predictions, your thoughts. Andy's got 75-68. Boise State getting the win tonight. Hopefully we see the offense get going tonight, 79-66. The only problem with that is North Texas is a very, very good defensive team. So seeing if I can log into KenPom here and get some of the numbers here. But North Texas, one of the better defensive teams in the country. The KenPom projection on this game is only 65-62. 65-62. North Texas has a 5-2 record. Again, they won the NIT last year. So North Texas comes in coming off an NIT championship. They won 30 games last season. You see the band filing in here, getting ready. Kevin is watching from section 61. Where is 61? I can't see it up there, Kevin. You're behind me, but appreciate you, man. Thank you. Appreciate that. Big day for the football team. Nate Staley wants to put a statue up for Ashton Genty. Again, Ashton Genty, I'm sure you guys all saw, but if you missed the news, announcing that he is returning to Boise State next season. Bronco for life is what he said, and pretty darn cool. I was pretty surprised, was not expecting that to happen. You heard Mike Prater earlier on KTIK, Mike Prater reporting that Ashton Genty got $300,000, a residence to stay in for the next year, and an upgraded vehicle. So a nice car, a place to stay, and $300,000 is what Mike Prater is reporting that Ashton Genty got in his NIL deal, and that's pretty cool. That is pretty big time for the donors and the boosters that stepped up. So Joe Nickel and the collective, I know a lot of local business owners stepped up to make that happen for Ashton Genty. So huge news for Boise State, and I would suspect Ashton Genty, you're going to be able to get him to stay. I think a lot of other guys are going to want to stick around as well. I think Ashton Genty was the first, early huge win for Spencer Danielson as head coach for Boise State, because you get him to stay, I think you have a chance to get some other guys to stay as well, and I think that's certainly a big deal to potentially have Ashton Genty sticking around for Boise State. Hey, Leon Rice talked about this game. The Broncos are leaving the court for a couple minutes. Let's hear from Leon Rice, Boise State head coach, talking with the media as we continue the Lithia Ford of Boise pregame show. Our title sponsor, rowpaint.com, reminds you all your painting needs. Check them out. Interior, exterior, residential, commercial, industrial, and, of course, those concrete coatings. ROEpaint.com. Check them out. Row Paint, our title sponsor. Here's Leon Rice talking yesterday, getting ready for this game against North Texas.
What were your thoughts when you first saw that, and how is this maybe going to benefit your team down the road?
Yeah, these are a trip through Death Valley, and if you didn't have tough guys, if you didn't have a staff that has some experience to deal with it, because there's other teams that are 8-0, and you're me and a coaching buddy were talking about this today. Like, how do you judge the data if you don't know who somebody's played? Like, oh, well, that team's top 10 in rebounding. Well, they played 7 teams that can't rebound or whatever. It's a big difference of who you played, especially this time of year. And now what it's done for us, it's made us better, no doubt. And any time we weren't really good, or if we're just okay in little stretches, we got exposed. And that happened against really good teams, and that's what always happens against good teams. So sometimes you can cover stuff up by the opponent, and so you don't get as good at your stuff. And sometimes you can cover stuff up by making shots. It seems like we haven't covered anything up by either of those. So it's forcing us to get a lot better, and another opportunity awaits us tomorrow with one of the best teams that will play in this section, one of the best defensive teams that you're going to see all year, no doubt about it. And they won 31 games last year. They know how to win, and man, do they guard. They are hard to score on. Their losses You know, they lost at the buzzer to St. John's, and they lost in a Donnybrook with LSU. That's the only 2 losses, and those were like basically 1-possession games. You know, LSU got a couple free throws at the end, stuff kind of thing. But this is a great team, and you know, Ross is doing an amazing job with them. You know, because it's funny, people think, well, you know, Grant, they lose Grant, but you know, Ross and Grant, it's kind of like our deal. That those guys, Ross has always been doing stuff, and the guy that we have a ton of respect for, I've known about his defense forever. And so, not surprised with how good they are and the job he's done, but we got our hands full tomorrow. We hope we have a great crowd to help us, because, you know, somebody said to me today when I popped in that press conference, welcome home. That's how we've been gone so long, 23 days, I think, since we last played here. So
just from a confidence standpoint, you know, after that trip to the East Coast, how important was it to get that win over St. Mary's on Friday?
Yeah, I mean, that was, you know, I said it before the game, that was a cage match. 2 go in, 1 come out. You know, they were 2 really good programs. I mean, think about St. Mary's. The people picked them to go to the Final Four this year, and they're not, you know, they've gone through some struggles against, you know, again, the schedule they played has been pretty unique for St. Mary's, and you know, you watch, they're going to win 9 out of the next 10 or maybe more, you know, and they're going to be there in the end, and they're a good team. And so you had 2 basically animals that felt wounded animals that were going to go in and fight, and that's what it was. I mean, you know, you guys there's been a lot of stuff going on around the university and football and all that, and so maybe people didn't pay attention, but that was a heck of a win and a heck of a game. I mean, we came out, I love the way our guys came out. We started out 11-0 and kind of had things at arm's length, and they counterpunched us a couple times, and we responded, and you had to go win that game. They weren't going to just lose it, and we went and won it.
Where have you
There he is, Leon Rice, meeting with the media yesterday. Again, a big one against North Texas coming up tonight. You're going to have Jay Tuss, by the way, on the call on the Mountain West Network tonight. Nick Duncan, Jay Tuss, and Chris Lewis. A 3-man booth tonight. And by the way, I'm not sure if I can pan the camera over here or not, but you got the Boise State football team sitting right by us. I see Jalen Clark. I see a lot of the guys here. They're going to be calling the game tonight, Maddox Madsen. They're going to be here. You obviously have the head coach, Spencer Danielson, getting introduced, speaking to the crowd at halftime, and you're going to have, I guess, the team also out there with him, or at least watching the game. That's going to be pretty cool to have the entire football team here watching this game tonight. And again, Spencer Danielson expected to speak to the crowd at halftime. I'm sure that Mountain West Championship trophy is going to make an appearance on the floor tonight. Football team in the house. And we got fans in the third level again. I think this is going to be a pretty nice crowd tonight. 28 minutes on the clock. We got a lot more to get to. I'll put Genty on the pregame show. We're actually thinking about trying to get Ashton Genty for the Tyson Degenhardt show. I think that'd be kind of cool. We're seeing if we can work on that for next week's episode. We do have another cool thing I'm going to announce in the next day or two about the bowl game coverage, and maybe a special BNN correspondent helping us out with the bowl game coverage next week. So stay tuned for all of that. Hope Max has a good game tonight. Let's see what else we got coming in here. 85-78 is Allison's projection. Any news on Talon Green? No news on Talon Green yet. And I would not expect him to be back at this point, but you never know. We'll wait and see. You never know, but I would not expect that. Preston is watching on the main entrance, home side on the plateau of the stairs. Appreciate you, Preston, for checking us out. But North Texas on the floor. Boise State should be back out here shortly. Get those score predictions in. I got a $20 gift card to Taco Bell for whoever has the closest score prediction. So you want $20 to Taco Bell? We got your score. Give us your best score prediction, and we'll get to those here in a second. A lot more to get to. We'll show you when Boise State retakes the floor. Don't go anywhere. This is the Lithia Ford of Boise pregame show. We're back in 90 seconds here on Bronco Nation News. Bronco Nation News is sponsored by Tommy Alquist and Ball Ventures Alquist, Idaho's premier commercial real estate development company. BVA projects specialize in office, retail, flex, medical, and industrial spaces located at some of the most strategic and visible locations in the valley. Need a developer? Looking for new space? Think BVA. At BVA, we are Idaho's developer. The Nicolason family and SON Management have proudly been operating Taco Bell restaurants in and around the Treasure Valley since 1969. One of the first to make a 7-figure donation to the Lyle Smith Society, they've also stepped up their support of Boise State athletics with the Taco Bell men's and women's basketball endowed scholarships. The Nicolason family and SON Management have committed at least $310,000 by 2026. Get more information on their financial support of Boise State athletics and find information on applying to work at Taco Bell at tacobellworks.com. Lithia Ford of Boise is a proud supporter of Boise State athletics and the official car and truck of the Broncos. Lithia Ford of Boise supports Bronco student athletes through NIL deals, including providing Ford vehicles to Taylon Green and Riley Smith from the football team and Paige Barsh from the volleyball team. Rain's family purchased our F-150 from Lithia Ford. Couldn't be happier with the purchase. Check out the all-electric F-150 Lightning or the electric Mustang Mach-E at Lithia Ford, and make sure to check out their full inventory of vehicles at lithiafordboise.com. The Blue and Orange Store is the perfect spot to get all your gear for your next Bronco game. The Blue and Orange Store has official Nike apparel, including jerseys, shirts, sweatshirts, jackets, hats, and more. Wear what the Broncos wear and get it at the Blue and Orange Store, the second floor of the Boise Town Square Mall, or get free shipping on a $40 order online at theblueandorangestore.com. Back here live on the Lithia Ford of Boise pregame show. This was just a few moments ago. Max Rice getting some shots up. Got to get Max Rice going tonight. Talked about it with Abe Jackson, but Max Rice has not made a three-pointer in the last 3 games. 0 for 8 from three-point range the last 4 games, and really has struggled much of the season from three-point range all year. 6 made threes in 7 games for Max Rice. So got to get Max Rice going, and tonight may not be the night. North Texas, certainly a very good defensive team, but Max Rice is a proven shooter. I know he's easy to rip on by some of the fans because his dad's the coach, but Max Rice is a quality player and needs to play at an elite level for this team to be to go where they want to go. And so I think that it's a big opportunity for Max Rice and the Broncos to get a big win tonight against a quality North Texas program. You see, I love this, by the way. Jace Whiting, he does the shooting drill they teach you at basketball camp that nobody does. You know, you're supposed to take your the 10 shots, from 3 feet and work on the wrist, the wrists and the follow through. And everybody does that when you're little at camp, and then nobody does it. You don't want to just start jacking up threes. Well, he still does it. You take a couple steps back, and I'm not surprised if you said there was one player on the team that still does that kind of shooting drill, that it's our man, Jace Whiting there. Let's see, 67-53. That'd be a nice win if they could pull it off. We need Max. Let's go Max C. Rice, says James Forsyth. Meadow and Tyson should be on the floor 90% of the time together. Yes, I know it's same position, but don't care. I actually think Max has a big game tonight, 15 points, including a clutch late 3. There you go. Clutch late 3. There's R.J. Keene, by the way. R.J. Keene getting some shots up. Could be a opportunity for R.J. Keene to get going as well. 58-46 is what Chase Love has for his score prediction. Andrew Meadow there at the top of the key, getting the three-pointer in there. He had a couple big threes in that second half of that St. Mary's game. I know, again, North Texas doesn't have the name as some of the other teams, but by the way, here's the football team. The entire Boise State football team right here hanging out. You can see the Broncos right there getting set for this one. Pretty cool that the entire football team elected to come hang out and watch this one tonight. Spencer Danielson going to be introduced at halftime. He's going to speak to the crowd. And you have the entire football team here. There's Jalen Clark down in front eating some nachos. Rodney Robinson. Fun night for the Broncos to be hanging out tonight. So there's your Mountain West champion football team right there. Cortez Hogan's down in the front as well. So cool to see the Broncos here supporting the Broncos. Again, you see the warm-ups going on. This was just a short time ago. You got Jace Whiting here in the corner shooting some threes. Big one tonight for Boise State. I know it's North Texas, but again, the NIT champs last year won 30 games, and it's a high computer number that is going to help with some computer rankings numbers here later in the season. We got 71-65. Skyship saying it's badass that the football team is here. Yeah, that is pretty cool that the football team elected to come. There's, as Nate said, let's go Goggles. There's Andrew Meadow getting some shots up there. And again, we bring you back live. You see the crowd filing in here. Boise State getting some shots up. The band is back. They were not here for the last game. I think it was Thanksgiving break, but the band is back. Should be a festive atmosphere tonight. And should be a good crowd. We got the Bill Clinton referee tonight, by the way. Eric Curry. Mike Reed also is one of the officials. So we got a big crowd. Don't see green, by the way. Manuel's on his way. 74-56. That'd be a really nice win if they could pull that off. So again, nice look at the football team hanging out. Sure, John Mallory will be heading up there, try to talk to some of these players here shortly. Cortez Hogan's down there in the front row. Here comes some more players walking up the steps. Marco Notriani. Entire team. There's Maddox Madsen down in front. DeAndre Cooper, the recruiting guru there for Boise State. And there's the team getting set for tonight's game. Again, pretty cool. There's the 300K man in the stands. I haven't seen if Ashton Genty is in the crowd yet or not. We know Mike Prater reported that earlier on Idaho Sports Talk. $300,000, an upgraded vehicle, and a new residence for him to stay in for a year. Mike Prater exclusively on Idaho Sports Talk today reporting that. And again, a live look. There he is, the Bill Clinton referee, Eric Curry, in the house tonight. You got Mike Reed. I think that's Marquez Pettigrew as well, I believe. Big crowd filing in. This should be a lot of fun. Go grab him, get an interview. We'll see. Somebody said Ugbo. Did they see Ugbo walk by? Is he here maybe? Emmanuel Ugbo. Now you got Joey Jenkins firing up the crowd. Again, should be a fun one. Boise State and North Texas. We got to get off the air here by 15 minutes before tip-off so we don't hit in our any issues with the Mountain West and our contractual obligation here to get this cut the stream. Again, the Mountain West Network will have Jay Tust making his Mountain West Network debut on the call with Chris Lewis and our man Nick Duncan. I'm not sure there's enough microphones there to go around for those three. That should be a fun broadcast on the Mountain West Network. Jay Tust on color, by the way. I believe Chris Lewis is doing the play-by-play, so that should be an interesting one to see to listen to that. You got Bob Beeler and Abe Jackson, obviously on the radio call as well on the Mountain West Network or on the 670 KBOI on the radio side, and then again the Mountain West Network on the TV side as well. And I believe KTVB Plus tonight and the KTVB app for tonight's game. I do not see Taylor Green in the stands for those asking, so. Appreciate everybody for checking out the pregame show. We got to get off the air here. They're going to have the national anthem here in a little bit. Nice crowd filing in. Make sure you come back on the postgame show. We'll have Leon Rice. We'll have players. We'll have highlights. We'll have reaction analysis. Big game for Boise State. Join us about 30 minutes after the game for the postgame show. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe on the YouTube channel. There's a little red button right down there in the corner. Hit that subscribe button. Subscribe on YouTube. We'd love to have you. And join us on the post-game show. We'll be back. Full coverage coming to BroncoNationNews.com. We'll have a full story up. And then we'll have the post-game show as well. So, big one for Boise State. And we'll talk to you afterwards. Again, Lithia Ford of Boise. Check them out, LithiaFordBoise.com. And we'll talk to you guys soon. Take care, everybody.